at the end of the day. But for now, it's not that we really need to push somebody to the wall as members. If he is clarifying, we can ask the question 10 times so that we get the clear picture. That is even what happens even in a court of law. This is like a court of law. We have the powers of the High Court. So we can ask and ask and ask until tomorrow. But for us to go that way, we need clarification from you. You read to us a standing order why we should put somebody on oath.
Honorable
Chair, I just wanted to request my colleague, the Honorable Kopio, that you know you are speaking on behalf of the members for your constituency. So I don't know whether when you are referring to we, you are referring to all of us here or you are referring to you. I've just not finished. You as a representative of your constituency, because that should be very clear to distinguish, because you are not speaking on my behalf. And I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable, Chair, when the Honorable Member is using the word we every now and then.
Chair, of course I'm a member of Parliament and you are also one, and I'm under no brief to protect no one. So I am allowed to speak as a representative of the
Honorable P, I think you have spoken many times and I've allowed you to speak, and if you want to speak again, I will allow you. But for now, Honorable Members, we have a subject matter. If we can go to the subject matter. Honorable Gakuya, your hand was up.
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. I think Madam Chair has made the ruling of this matter, and we have agreed issues that are pertaining to the letter that will be handled even at a later date. As the CS was very clear that if any further clarification is needed, she is up to the task. Madam Chair, I urge the members that we move to the main agendas as we conclude. Madam Chair, kindly I urge we go by your ruling that we proceed.
Honorable Members, we proceed, and I would like to say that powers to call for evidence, that is in the Constitution 125, because Honorable Osman asked me to check, and our Secretariat has given us this guidance. For the purpose of Clause 1, that is the powers, I'll just read, I read together with one. Okay, 125, either House of Parliament and any of its committees has power to summon any person to appear before it for the purpose of giving evidence or providing information, which we have. Then 2, for the purpose of Clause 1, a House of Parliament and any of its committees has the same powers as that of the High Court to enforce attendance of a witness and examine them on oath, affirmation or otherwise. But listen, Honorable Members, that at this stage, we have received many witnesses in this committee. And we have our Cabinet Secretary and the PS and their team here. And to me, they are giving us information. So I would like to ask that we make progress. And I want to go by what most of the members have said. Let's make progress.
Madam Chair.
Honorable Dr. Nikal.
I want it on record, the chair has ruled that we cannot go on oath on her decision. That should go on record. So, she has. If she disowns that, then with that, we can progress.
No, we'll not take that route, Dr. Nikal.
Chair.
Because I will not allow you to give false information, because we are all here. We are all here.
Read that part again, Madam Chair.
Honorable Osman.
Madam Chair, thank you.
I'll start with Osman and I'll go to Honorable Gakuya.
I think when we are arguing on a very small matter and we have the witnesses in front of us here, we are not doing any service to the country and our people. What you have said is, let's get the information as much as possible from the witnesses who are before us. So for me, I am the one who asked for clarification from the standing order, and we have already been given. The witnesses have not refused to come. They are here to answer our questions. So I don't see what's all that the chair has ruled. It is us members who asked for it, and I stand by that.
Honorable Nikal. I have ruled well, and I want you to ask your other question.
Yes, Honorable Osman asked for the standing orders to be read. When the standing orders were read, okay, okay. If the standing orders was not read, then Honorable Osman's question has not been answered. Now, if the Constitution was read, then the Constitution indicated the matter of oath. But I think the chair has the power and the duty. But once you have the power and the duty, you cannot disown that same power and duty. Having said that, I go on to ask my questions. I want to be educated on two processes from the ministry. When we are doing post-auditing, what is the time lapse? What does the word post mean? It can mean that the process of payment or procurement ends now, and in the afternoon you do post-auditing. It could also mean that it takes a year, or it could also mean that is important for us in processes of government. Because as I knew before that was changed, we were told it's changed, they were part of the process. Now, if the audit is not part of the process, then there's a post. We need to know what that post is. Why is that important? A PS or a CS should not get information about wronggoings on in their ministry from the press. There should be somebody in the ministry who alerts them. And that is one of the role of the internal audit. So if this post is such that it takes months, then it is a process we are going to look at. I want to be educated on what does the word post mean. The same day, the following day, in which case, if it's the same day, the following day, they can be informed immediately before matters get out of hand. Number two, I think we have since devolution and the current system of principal secretaries and cabinet secretaries, there's change. Who is the authorized officer and who is the accounting officer? Let's get those. Maybe I can go on. If that is so, when that is being answered, my other question which came here the other day was not answered. There was funds that were from the free maternity that was used in other areas. I think the areas of the area of non-pharmaceuticals and even pharmaceuticals were actually answered to well, because we were told there were emergencies that came. So I can easily understand why the ministry would buy pharmaceuticals and non-pharmaceuticals and laboratory things, because there is a medical emergency. But there is one bit I don't understand. Some of these monies were actually used in administrative areas, buying toners for offices and so on, paying pending bills and so on. I didn't get adequate information on that the other time. The other issue that came last time, and I still not got adequate information, is the issue of the mobile clinics. The mobile clinics, we were told in this committee that they have been received, they are in a safe warehouse, a faith institution in Mombasa. But we were also told that there is one that is in Nairobi. And we had agreed as a committee that we actually go and see that. I would like to know whether it is from our side or from the ministry side, why yesterday we did not see that. What is the importance of that to me? Why I'm asking that question? In procurement, you give specifications. And when you get the first product, you want to know whether that first product meets the specifications, so that when you receive other products, you know this is what we asked for. So one, why didn't we see it yesterday? Two, can we have the specifications before we even go to see those mobile clinics? Because otherwise, it will be just a walk in the park.
The Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I think, first of all, I would like to revisit that issue which was being discussed here and agree and try to say that as a ministry, we are committed to provide this committee with any information they need to arrive at a decision or to write a report which is true. And therefore, we are not going to hold any information. And therefore, I want to assure this committee this afternoon, once we are released from here, that other letter will be able to forward to the committee for them to be able to see it. Secondly, I want to say that if I answer Honorable Nyikao's last question, the specifications of this clinic we are going to provide to this committee because they are there, I believe, in the tender documents, and for them to be able to go through. And secondly, I was informed that the committee was going to Mombasa, where we have more than 99 portable clinics, and that the assumption was that we will be able to view these clinics when the committee goes to Mombasa. But if the committee feels strongly that they need to see the one in Nairobi, it is our responsibility to arrange when the committee decides to do so, to be able to take them to see this clinic. But I hear you, Honorable Member, in terms of specifications. We'll give you first the specifications which we have here and we can be able to share with you, and then you can let us know when you want to see all the ones in Mombasa will fit your own inspection. I would prefer you see the one in Nairobi because it's fully fitted or whatever it is, so that, as you said, the sample is the one which comes first for people to be able to know that. Therefore, there's no problem about seeing that, and I regret if it was to be seen yesterday and this committee was not able to do so. I think, so that one we will ask with the committee to see the best way or where they can see this clinic and be able to make their opinion or to be able to examine it the way they want. I think the issue which you raised about of audit getting out of the press, and that is not the practice. It should not happen because officers are responsible, not because they are hiding anything, but the audit report is for internal consumption to make us improve ourselves. And I also tend to concur with some of the members here in terms of value addition of audit cannot be value addition at the end of the action. Therefore, I'm sure this committee is competent to be able to examine the circulars which we are operating with and guide appropriately across the government, because that nobody stops an auditor intercepting a process to satisfy themselves whether it is right or wrong. And therefore, that is something which we leave with this committee to stand guided as far as that is concerned. I want to say the issue about the Cabinet Secretary is the Chief Executive of the Ministry. That is very clear. Exercises policy and the oversight of the Ministry in all aspects. The Accounting Officer is the Principal Secretary. For these issues to do with financing and all those processes, it is the Principal Secretary, and therefore the Principal Secretary is supposed to work with the Cabinet Secretary to ensure any actions we do not divert from the priorities of the ministry, which are enshrined in the procurement plan, which is done at the beginning of the year. And if there are variation, must be discussed to ensure the policy direction which the ministry is taking is not compromised. And therefore, there is a role for the Cabinet Secretary and the Accounting Officer with his team to be able to guide the ministry appropriately and operationally to ensure that does happen. And therefore, that is very clear of the responsibilities which are within. In my appointment letter, I never saw the word authorized. I saw Chief Executive with the job description, which is very clear. I want to say that, yes, the Honorable Nyikal, you can agree with the medical and all these things which were paid as emergencies and all that. We'll be able to sit as a ministry and how we paid for donors, not to make them lesser, because institutions have to function. But that is something we can seek and be able to come to this committee, as I said, in openness, to be able to inform this committee what informed our decisions to be able to pay that. It might look small amount, but the principle must be brought to you to be able to appreciate. Therefore, we shall work with this committee to the satisfaction of the committee. That is what I can say about those particular areas which Honorable Nikal has raised. Thank you, Chair.
Supplementary to that, clarification. I really want to be very clear. There are two letters that I know as the PS1 receives, and I want that to be clear, because we don't know whether we may be talking here and we don't know whether the structure of government has changed. There's a letter as an authorized officer, and there's a letter as accounting officer. The principal secretary, did you get these letters? The CS has said he got a letter saying he's the CEO. That's fine, but we would expect the principal secretary to get two letters: an accounting officer and an authorized officer. Did you get those letters? That is supplementary number one. Supplementary number two.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
Yes, what is out of order?
I just want to get a clarification from the member whether he's asking CS directly whether he received his own two letters that he's demanding here. Because that might be out of the agenda of the day, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, if you allow me, I will explain why. If it is felt that it's out of the agenda, I will drop the question.
Well, you may speak so that we can
The question is, issues have been raised here, and I want to say the basic principle. If all these educated people and these Kenyans don't stick to the truth, Kenyans cannot move. Kenyans will die. Kenyans will die. If all of us here, both sides, cannot stick to and stand by the truth at any cost. So why I'm asking that is this. If there is an accounting officer and an authorized officer, if there is communication officer lower down, up, it will be mandatory. For example, if a letter was coming from the auditor, that if it's going to the CS, really that same letter must be copied to the accounting officer, because it's the person who is going to actually look at the matter. Nikal, I really don't mind whatever people are thinking, but I'll go for the truth. Because then we may be sitting here on matters that are relating to processes and procedures, and we are not elucidating them. Then we are not helping Kenyans. We have a bigger responsibility. So I think it is important to know. For me, I want to know, because the structure of the government I knew before devolution may be different from the one that is going on now. This does not apply to just this PS. It will apply to all PSs. So I would like to have that answer.
CS, that question is valid. So we ask you to respond. CS.
Thank you, Chair. And that question of Honorable Dr. Nikal is very valid. And if you look at what I've said...
CS, 1 minute. Who are you directing the question to? To the PS. Okay, then I ask the PS to respond.
Proper, but should pass through the accounting officer for the purpose of being aware of what was happening. And that's the practice. But as the CS said in this particular incident, the letter was written directly to him, and neither copied the accounting officer. So there is a problem there of process. But as Dr. Nyukali, as you know, any communication with the CS either passes through the PS or the PS is copied for the purpose of action, or being aware, so that it can also facilitate any decision making or implementation of whatever decision is being required. That's the proper way. By these incidents, that was not followed.
The two letters have been passed.
Yes, we have the two letters. Thank you.
CS. I think the CS wanted to make a comment.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment. I want just to clarify one thing. The fact that this report came directly, that is why the internal auditor, I asked him to discuss it with my team, including the principal secretary, because we should not take this incident as the procedure of government. This is an isolated case. Perhaps you'll interrogate him and find his reason, but from where I stand, I refer the particular auditor back to my staff to be able to complete this process with them. That corrective action indicates we do understand the manner in which we should communicate government business within ministries. And therefore, it's for him to explain why he did that in this particular instance. Thank you.
Okay, then I give Dr. Bukose as a comment.
Chair, thank you. What I was saying, Chair, is that I think it will be important for this committee to interrogate the principal auditor based on the audit report that he did. And CS, maybe I would ask you to respond. This being an interim report, and it's a post, those services have already been rendered, so he's looking at it at a later date. There's a question which Honorable Nyikal asked. How soon, is it how many days or how many months after the services have been, or the payments have been made, do the internal auditor come in to do the post-audit report? I think that is very important. And then two, this post-audit report, you know, like now in the report, he is querying whether even the containers for the clinics have been delivered. And considering that this is somebody who is within the ministry, and we already have, you are saying, us as a committee, we've not yet confirmed, which I think we'll be able to confirm tomorrow as we go to Mombasa at the NYS place, that we will have 99 there, and one was already delivered in Nairobi. Was in this internal auditor team, or internal audit team, part of the ministry's team to be able to look at the container that has already been delivered? Who looks at it? Is it only the CS and the PS who go and look at it, or you also involve them? Because they are supposed to give the post-audit report. At what stage are they able to look at it?
Thank you. Sorry, should I respond? Thank you for those questions. I think one thing I can say is that the internal auditor was at liberty to verify, because you do not conclude an audit without verifying where it is verifiable. Some of these clinics came way back early in the year, those 20 of them which were delivered initially. And therefore, he had every opportunity to be able, even if it's to look at the specifications in terms of what was being bought. The fact that he never did that, he drew his own conclusion.
You think that he drew conclusion without asking the relevant officers or discussing with the senior most officers in the ministry?
The impression, the document, when you read that document, the interaction is looking at papers without interacting with the staff in the ministry to be able to clarify or to be able to facilitate him to go wherever. Auditors have to travel. Therefore,
Dr. Bukose?
Sorry, yes, I don't want to interrupt you, but you know, I, as a doctor, one of the key things is to be specific. When I asked you initially about the dates, it is good to give us very specific dates. So in one of your comments, you say the 20 containers were delivered early in the year. Could you please remember when were they delivered? How long have they been here? When were the other, you talk of 99 now being there. When were they received in the country? How long have they been there? So that it also gives us information as to your suggestion that the internal auditor did not verify that these things have been delivered.
I think, Honorable Vice Chair, I think I can be able to provide to this committee the details of the deliveries of these clinics. But I also want to say this auditor came to the ministry in April. Within the postings which happen in central posting. So he hadn't been in the ministry for a long time. And I'm sure some of these things were delivered when he was not there. But at the point of the audit, sorry?
CS, there are you talked of 20 staff or 10 staff in the audit department.
10 members of staff.
10 members of staff. And I'm assuming that it is only one who came in April. So the other 9 must be able to share the information with the audit, with the detailed auditor, because it's something that they must take collective responsibility.
Honorable members of this committee, I mean, there was a massive reshuffle at that time of both accounting and also internal auditors and procurement staff, and all of them were new, posted to the ministry. But we will be able to provide this committee with that information, and if the people who are in that office before verified this particular aspect of these clinics, I think we will be able to do that.
Chair, there's a process question that I actually would like the accountant to answer. Post-audit. What is the definition of post-audit? Is it, you see, post can mean the process has been finished today and you are doing it tomorrow. That is still post. It's finished in the afternoon, in the morning, and you are doing it. Because what we are looking at, if you don't get the gist of our question, how we are protecting the whole system. So I would like to be told, this post-audit process that is new, what exactly does it mean?
Yeah.
How long does it take before the auditor knows the processes of payment that are going on in the ministry? And let me repeat myself, it is too sad for a PS or a CS to learn about wrongdoings from the press, and they have an internal audit department. So if this post, how?
I'm sure they have understood.
Yeah.
So they will. Honorable Osman and then Honorable Commander
Mwangi. On the same one, I asked, we need the policy memo that said, yeah, it should be delivered here, that says that ministries nowadays, the internal auditors should look at the vouchers post, not pre. Yeah, we need that policy memo.
Honorable Commander Mwangi.
Thank you, Chair. Mine is a concern on supply of containers, because what I believe in supply, goods are supposed to be paid for after they have reached their own destinations. What caused the ministry to pay for goods which are still at Mombasa and they have not yet reached their final destinations? The second one, Chair, for this one I have noted with a lot of concern, health is a devolved function. What has caused the ministry to be financing some of the hospitals within this country using maternity money? Because as we look at our records, we can see there are some of the hospitals in this country which are being financed directly from the ministry headquarters, and we can still be able to name them. Why are you having this discrimination?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
But let's start with
the senior accountant.
Senior accountant.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. I want to comment on post-auditing. I'm not an auditor, but I know on daily basis, the auditor goes to the cash office and verifies what we paid the previous day. Having said that, I want to say also they do what we call systems audits. They don't only concentrate on payments. They look at other areas, even HRM, procurement, even finance. Okay? So theirs is a continuous exercise. Every day they check what we paid yesterday. And if there is any case they think they need to do further verification, they pick the vouchers and they go with them. Now, coming back to this report we are discussing about, I think what this auditor was supposed to do, after having done his verification and identified our weaknesses in our systems, he was supposed to communicate to the accounting officer through the CS, and the officers, the respective officers respond to the issues raised in that audit report. That never happened, and in fact we saw the report when the PS got his copy from the CS. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's a question which was asked by the Honorable Member, in fact, about financing some institutions while health is a devolved system. The only institutions which are getting grants from the national government are the former provincial hospitals, which are getting grants to support them to take care of people. And the principle which is behind that, Kenyans are still in the mode that these provincial hospitals are still existing. Across Western, people go to Kakamega. Across the Nyanza, people go to Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Hospital. People will go to Embu, will go to Nyeri, and will go to Coast General across the counties. Therefore, these funds, which are a grant defined in the law and released to these particular hospitals, is with the understanding that they are taking care of people across many counties. Therefore, to cushion them, and I want to say that, imagine Kakamega Hospital financed by the county budget, it will absorb 60 to 70% of the health budget of that county, and therefore primary health care will have no funds to take care of the people. So this is a grant extended to be able to provide that. So there is no discrimination. Even in the minds of people, they still travel to Coast General Hospital to receive care from Kilifi, Tana River, and elsewhere. So that is why the central government, I don't know how long it will continue, will have to cushion that until the counties, the other counties come up. And there are also services available in these institutions which are not available in the level 5 hospitals within certain counties, and expertise which is also available. So it's a good move, but it's not discriminatory to any of the institution. It's a principle which was built in the bill and part of the conditional grants to these particular institutions. I think the other issue was responded to by the Principal Secretary when he was here, support to Lamu, Bungoma, support to Laikipia, Nanyuki. Those are requests, and members here, you represent the public. When there's a need and members make a presentation, the national government makes consideration, because in Lamu, if there is no facility to put equipment and they have no funding to do so, it's useful for the national government to see how they can assist Lamu or any other county to be able to reach the people. I think that is very key. You asked about containers.
Yes.
You asked about the portable clinics, why they're in Mombasa, not in their respective destinations. And I think maybe it was explained, but let me say that that is a holding ground, because these containers are not going to one destination. 20 are coming to Nairobi. 20 others will go to Coast, where, because it's the slum upgrading, to Kisumu and other parts of the country. And as it might have been explained, there is groundwork to be done in terms of preparing the sites. And instead of transporting all of them to Nairobi to go back to Mombasa or any other destination, that is a holding ground, so that as we are ready, we move them from there to the respective destinations. I think that is the principle which we are using, and we shall be able to begin to do that exercise. Thank you.
Madam Chair, thank you. Maybe I'll seek further clarification on that element of clinics, but probably my line is not why the supplier was paid, because I believe a supplier, once has delivered the goods, has incurred a lot of money and he needs his money back. So as long as the containers are already here, and it is the ministry which ordered the supplier to put these containers on that particular yard, then the ministry had to take care of clearing the bills of the supplier. My concern is, now that in fact the clinics are not of single destination, who will take care of the next supply from the area they are now, when we distribute, who will take care of the distribution to the other destinations?
Honorable Dr. Gakuya, thank you for the question, but I believe that question was responded to by the PS. Yes. So I would like to encourage members that we don't repeat what we already asked, so that we can make progress. Honorable Dr. Eseli.
Thank you, Chair. You notice I've been very quiet. Trump's win caught my tongue. Chair, I was not in the last meeting, and that's probably why I decided to listen some more before, without asking questions. But the CS has just said that these containers are being held while they are preparing the ground before they can deploy these containers. Now, I'm wondering then whether there are mobile clinics then, because this should be rapidly deployable. The mobile clinic should be rapidly deployable and should be installed any place during an emergency. So I'm wondering, therefore, whether these ones qualify to be called mobile clinics. If they are waiting for the ground to be prepared before they are deployed. And what's the cost of preparing that ground? Given that each of these mobile clinics is costing 10 million, how much is costing to prepare that ground? So it would need to have been more prudent than to just go and build with this 10 million plus. Because if this is the situation and they're supposed to be, actually the idea of them being mobile has been cancelled out. Because they are not mobile. Unless if they were, they would have been deployed, whether the ground is shaky, whether the ground is whatever. But in this case, it's clear that they are not mobile clinics. So I'm trying to just find out, are you sure we've got value for money on this?
Well, we are deliberating here as you ask this query. It's important, but we are thinking that this will come after we have seen the containers.
I need the answer because they are termed mobile clinics.
Yeah, I think that part they can respond.
They have not been deployed because they are still preparing the ground. So that means they are not mobile clinics, because if they are mobile, they should be deployable at short notice to any ground, anywhere in Kenya, wherever they are needed.
CS.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me clarify. I think these are portable. You are right. They are portable clinics. And the ground which is being prepared, you make a slab because they will be placed on a slab. You bring water, electricity, and a building for the staff who are going to use them. So I agree with you. It might be used interchangeably, like mobile and portable, but they are portable clinics. That one you are right. Now,
what is the cost of preparing that ground, as you have said, the slab and what have you, so that we can now generate the actual cost of this mobile clinic, this mobile portable clinic or mobile clinic, because that's the container, but you are preparing the ground where you're going to place it. What's it costing you? So that we can now come up with the total value of what we've done and know whether we've got value for our money.
Thank you, Chair. The ground preparation works differs from place to place. I'll give an example. In some of the slums areas, we have toilets already in the chief camp, so we are not digging new toilets. Some of the area, the grounds are well done, so we're just placing it. So it will differ depending on the location. In some areas, they are almost greenfield. We are going to a new location. We have to clear the grounds. We have to fence. They have a latrine done for the patients. We also have a pit for waste management. So the price differs from place to place, and you can provide that information from my experience from Nairobi.
Chair, I'm not satisfied with that. We have to have a rough idea of what it's costing you, because you have a budget, isn't it, that you are working with. So how much is it costing you to prepare those grounds? Okay, in total then, for all the 100.
The final assessment is still being finalized because we are also still debating with some members of parliament on the location of some of the sites. That information will provide all the details because there is some other debate around the right place to locate these clinics. Once that is provided, once that is finalized, we are going to come up with a detailed report from the works department and our technical team, and that information will be provided to this committee. Thank you.
PS, let's have timelines for that, for the interest of the member who is asking. How long can we give you?
I think I hear what Honorable Esel is asking. If you give us 2 weeks, 3 weeks, in 3 weeks we should be able to do an estimate because we know where these clinics are going. We can look at the terrain and come up. We have experience in Nairobi with 19 sites. We shall be able to guide this committee appropriately after 21 days, and we can provide that report to you with all the variations which the Principal Secretary is referring to. Then this committee can be informed accordingly.
Well, I think 3 weeks is good. Honorable members, I'm just looking at the queries that we have, and we seem to have exhausted. Honorable Ashira?
Diversion of funds. Thank you. There is the part 2, number 4. There is allegation that 889 million for free maternity was reallocated to other uses, which was not approved by the National Assembly. The role of the National Assembly is to approve the budgets. Now, is that true, Bwana Cabinet Secretary? And if it is true, then why was this one done? And may I ask, is the 200 million that was paid on that year, June, part of that free maternity money? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. I'm guided this question was answered last time, but maybe I will ask the Principal Secretary to clarify for the sake of the member.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair. We had provided detailed response to that particular issue with all the annexes, and if there's any further detail required, I'll be able to provide that. We are going to provide a detailed document.
Honorable members,
with that,
I would like to say that I have a note here from the CS. CS is unwell, and I would like us to come to an end. He just written me this note, and you can hear the way he has spoken, responding to the last question. And I would like us to be human as much as we are asking these questions. We've gotten so much information, and at this level, I would like to ask that if we have further queries, because we will be meeting the ministry when we are back from Mombasa after seeing this, then we can ask all these questions at another meeting. And with that, I would like to ask that thank you very much, honorable members, for the time that you've taken. I know you're on recess, and I would like to thank you very much. I'd also like to thank the media for availing yourselves. Have a good day. The committee will remain for a few minutes.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
This is NTV. Lamu Island is once again hosting the Lamu Cultural Festival, set to take place from November 10th to 13th, 2016. Join us for the most exciting festival in Kenya, featuring traditional dances, dough, donkey and swimming competition. And this, a special performance from Gujarat folk dancers to revive our history. Welcome to Lamu, the